Alright everybody, welcome back to another fantasy booking video. My name is Dominic from the Bad Wrestling channel, and you know, Batman has his bat signal, Indiana Jones has his whip, and Mario has his mushroom. Yes, all major characters have their traditional symbols, and in the world of pro wrestling, in the luchador tradition, these iconic symbols can be found in the masks pro wrestlers wear. And when looking at the current state of wrestling, there may be no more popular luchador than the 20-year-plus veteran in Rey Mysterio. So that begs the question, what if Rey Mysterio's iconic symbol, his mask, was taken away from him? So where do we start this fantasy booking of such a monumentous occasion? Well, I figured about right now in the WWE is a pretty good start. So, let's look at Survivor Series 2019. What happened? Okay, well, Brock Lesnar fought Rey Mysterio for the WWE Championship. Pretty good start to Rey Mysterio being at like kind of the top end of the roster. That's a good idea. So, what happened there? Brock Lesnar defeated Rey Mysterio. Even with the help of his son Dominic, just like in real life, Rey Mysterio loses his chance at the WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar. So for the next few weeks after Survivor Series, Rey Mysterio doesn't really do much. He's kind of just seen in the background of promos. He's not really involved in anything, but his presence is kind of still felt. But on the Go Home show to TLC, it is announced that Rey Mysterio is set to speak at the pay-per-view. So we jump to TLC 2019. What does he have to say? Well, Rey Mysterio, he comes out to the ring, he grabs the microphone, and he says to the crowd, "It's no secret that I've not been feeling myself lately. Over the past year, I've thought about my legacy in the WWE and how much longer I can perform at the world-class level I've been performing for the past 2 decades. I've thought about my family, my wife, my children, and all the times I've missed with them. Then at Survivor Series, it finally hit me all at once. When I lost to Brock Lesnar, I knew that my time at the top was over. So tonight, I am announcing that I am officially..." But right before he officially says whatever he was planning to say, probably retire, Rey Mysterio, he gets interrupted by the music of the OC, and AJ Styles, the current United States Champion, walks to the ring. AJ Styles grabs the microphone and says, "No, don't you dare finish that sentence. Now, look, you're a failure and a loser," because of course he's a heel, he's gonna have to say that kind of thing. "But if there's one thing you aren't, that is ready to leave this place. At least not without losing to me tonight. You see, I don't have a match tonight, and I'm itching to kick your ass. Only then you can retire." So of course, since WWE seems to have a tough time booking their mid-card titles, seriously, what's with that? AJ Styles, he doesn't have a match, so he decides to call out Rey Mysterio for later on in the night, and that's exactly what happens. Rey Mysterio takes on AJ Styles in a non-title matchup, and that's very important because Rey Mysterio actually pins AJ Styles with a roll-up pin. So Rey Mysterio, after a big win over AJ Styles the night after TLC, he is seen backstage talking to his son Dominic, who is clearly kind of an on and off figure right now, and he is pretty unsure of what to do with himself. Okay, he just defeated AJ Styles. Should he really retire, or should he just kind of stick around and see what happens? And that prompts Dominic to try to give him a few words of support. You know, don't retire, okay? You just defeated AJ Styles, who's the United States Champion. Perhaps that could lead to a title shot down the line. Who knows? And that's exactly what happens, because you see, over the next few weeks before the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, there is kind of a qualifying tournament kind of thing, because who doesn't love a good tournament? And it all ends in a #1 contendership match for the United States Championship, okay? It's a fatal four-way. We got Rey Mysterio, we got Cedric Alexander, we got Ricochet, and we got Andrade, because I love me a good flip-de-doo match. And in the end, Rey Mysterio pins Cedric Alexander so that he goes on to fight AJ Styles in the rematch at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view for the US Championship. So at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, there is kind of all this build-up and intrigue, thinking Rey Mysterio, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to retire if he loses to AJ Styles? What's exactly happening? Well, we find out what happens. It's the United States Championship match, and AJ Styles defeats Rey Mysterio. Cleanly, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring before the rest of the OC, Gallows and Anderson, come in and attack Rey Mysterio. So while Rey Mysterio is getting beat down by all members of the OC, his son Dominic starts to run to the ring to make a quick save. However, just like at Survivor Series, not much happens. Okay, even though he's kind of involved, Rey Mysterio still gets his ass kicked. So Dominic, he tries to save him, but he's immediately stopped by the OC, making them all look dominant as Rey and his son are kind of laid out in the ring. And following that, Rey Mysterio kind of tries to weakly get up, and Dominic is also helping with the crowd, kind of watching, okay? And as Rey Mysterio and Dominic look at each other, Rey tries to go to embrace with his son, but Dominic kind of pushes him away. Rey Mysterio stands alone in the ring as Dominic walks to the back like an emo teenager disappointed in his parents. So the night after the Rumble, Rey Mysterio tries to go talk to Dominic backstage, trying to have a conversation with him, trying to thank him for saving him at the Rumble, but Dominic is very defensive. He's not really saying much back, okay? There is this weird change in his demeanor, okay? He seems to have stopped caring too much about him. He's kind of shrugging Rey Mysterio off, basically. So in the next week, Rey Mysterio is still trying to have this feud with the OC. And while Rey Mysterio is celebrating a win over Carl Anderson, Dominic, who came out to the ring with Rey Mysterio, starts immediately getting attacked by AJ Styles and Luke Gallows on the outside while Rey Mysterio is busy celebrating. So when Rey Mysterio finally turns around after a few good seconds, he sees that Dominic is laid out on the outside of the ring. By the time Rey realizes this, Carl Anderson then attacks Rey Mysterio, and then the OC once again looks strong. So in the following week, Rey Mysterio is set to fight against AJ Styles in another non-title match, but earlier on in the evening before that happens, he goes to try to talk to Dominic, and once again, he shrugs him off, very much more annoyed than he was after the Rumble. Okay, Rey is trying to say how sorry he is. He's trying to say, hey, look, I know I kind of failed last time. However, we did get a win over the OC, but Dominic is clearly like shrugging him off. He's like, no, stop it. I don't want this. However, when Dominic walks away backstage, the OC then attack Rey Mysterio backstage as Dominic is walking away, not realizing what's happening behind him. So when he realizes this happens, he runs back. He tries to console with Rey Mysterio, but by then the OC have just pummeled Rey backstage, and so later on Dominic challenges AJ Styles to a match next week to try to get revenge. So in the go-home show to Fastlane, AJ Styles says, you know what, no, we'll fight at the Fastlane pay-per-view because he's already scheduled for a United States title matchup, and he doesn't really want to defend his championship against someone like Dominic, like an amateur. So AJ Styles goes on, he defeats I really don't care, and retains his United States Championship. So that leads to a non-title match between Dominic and AJ Styles at Fastlane. So before the match at Fastlane, Dominic and Rey are talking backstage. Rey Mysterio's telling him, hey, you know what? It's fine, I get it, you're an adult, you're trying to grow, you're trying to live your own life in the WWE, and Rey Mysterio knows he won't be able to protect him all the time. So, it's kind of a bit of a touching moment, you know? Rey Mysterio's looking like he's almost accepting the fact that Dominic is growing up. I don't know, something like that. It's a touching moment. So we finally get to the match between AJ Styles and Dominic, and it's looking pretty good actually, okay? Dominic is actually putting up a decent fight. I mean, sure, AJ Styles beats the shit out of him, like, by a comfortable margin. AJ Styles is beating the hell out of him. But, you know, Dominic, you know, he has a fiery comeback every now and then, okay? Every now and then he might hit a punch, he might hit a 619, something like that. But it is definitely almost one-sided in this one. So as Dominic, he's building up this fiery comeback in the match, and he goes for a 619 on AJ Styles. However, AJ Styles rolls immediately out of the ring, stares at Luke Gallows, who's on the outside, nods, and gets slapped in the face by Luke Gallows. This causes a DQ win for AJ Styles. So Dominic, in his first singles match, loses via disqualification. So as AJ Styles is eagerly and pretty maniacally staring at Dominic, okay, he looks at him as Dominic is standing in the ring. He's kind of like in disbelief. The rest of the OC attack Dominic, and so it then becomes kind of a beatdown, you know, kind of a signature beatdown the OC likes to do in the ring on Dominic. However, Rey Mysterio, following that, he tries to go out for the save because he wasn't at ringside earlier on because Dominic wanted to be his own man. That's what that whole conversation backstage was. Anyways, Rey Mysterio runs out to the ring trying to make the save, but mirroring what happened at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, Rey Mysterio fails to save Dominic. So, following the Fastlane pay-per-view after the beatdown once again by the OC, Rey Mysterio and Dominic are starting to come closer together as a father and son because their combined anger towards the OC is helping them bond a bit, okay? You kind of see their growth a bit, okay? Dominic is not really shrugging him off anymore. He's more pulling Rey Mysterio closer into him. So, Rey Mysterio and Dominic decide to get revenge at the next pay-per-view, Elimination Chamber. It's some tag team action. It's Rey Mysterio and Dominic versus Gallows and Anderson of the OC. This hopefully leads to AJ Styles getting a different feud for the US title, so AJ Styles is then bye, but he's still got the OC thing happening with Rey and Dominic. Anyways, the tag team match at the Elimination Chamber is going pretty well. Okay, they hit a double 619 on Luke Gallows like they did to Brock Lesnar. Everything is looking pretty good. However, Carl Anderson gets tagged in. He runs in, throws Dominic to the outside as Dominic and Rey are kind of celebrating after the joint 619, and then hits his rocket kick, which I guess is what it's called, his rocket kick on Rey Mysterio and pins him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. So the OC then leave with another victory over Dominic and Rey Mysterio. So afterwards, Rey Mysterio is left on the ground inside the ring after a brutal rocket kick by Carl Anderson. Gallows and Anderson, they already leave, and Dominic comes in to the ring. Dominic slowly helps pick up his dad, Rey Mysterio. They do the signature forehead touch that Rey Mysterio loves to do with his fans. They stop the embrace. Rey Mysterio almost has tears in his eyes because he's sad that he disappointed his son with the loss, and both men, they just stand up straight before Dominic hits a low blow on Rey Mysterio. That's right, he kicks him right in the dick, and Dominic just stands above him like an evil man, like MJF with Cody, except it's far, far worse, because Dominic and Rey Mysterio are actually family, unless you believe Eddie Guerrero, and and following the kick, Dominic just walks away. He doesn't look at Rey Mysterio on the ground, he doesn't do anything, okay, he's almost expressionless. He walks away, knowing that that low blow just ruined his family. So why exactly did he do that? Well, it's revealed right after Elimination Chamber, the night after on Monday Night Raw. Dominic comes out and explains that he has watched his father compete for years on the road while he had to be the man of the house, trying to protect his family from the press, while Rey was too busy ignoring them. He says that he hates what this industry does to people, tearing families apart, tearing lives apart, taking them away like Eddie Guerrero, and he is sick of watching it. He is sick of seeing this industry destroy not only his family, but the family of so many others, because remember, he was still kind of family with Eddie Guerrero. That's what Rey Mysterio's whole push was about when he won the world title, okay? Eddie Guerrero, he died, and while his family was kind of mourning that, Rey Mysterio, he went on and won the freaking top title, okay? So it kind of just makes sense. So the following week, Rey Mysterio, he comes down to the ring and he's almost pleading for forgiveness. He kind of understands what Dominic is trying to say. Okay, he's saying, Dominic, please, just talk to me. Come down to the ring and talk to me. But Dominic doesn't do that. Instead, he decides to answer to him via the Titantron. Dominic says that he tried to follow in his footsteps while Rey Mysterio wanted to fight Brock he tried to support him. When Rey was feeling down following his loss at Survivor Series, he tried to give him hope. When Rey tried taking on all members of the OC, Dominic stood right alongside him in the fight. But after witnessing how the WWE life affects not only the loved ones of a superstar, but the superstar himself, he decides that he wants to end Rey Mysterio. He wants to end his career and all the memories he lacked with his father as a child. Rey Mysterio asks him what Dominic really needs. What does he need from him so that Dominic finally rejoins the Rey Mysterio family after this heartbreaking past few weeks? Well, Dominic doesn't answer, and he says he's going to answer it on the next week's show. The next week, Dominic comes down to the ring, but he tells Rey Mysterio immediately, as soon as he gets on the mic, that he doesn't want him coming down to the ring. He doesn't want to face him. In the middle of the ring, he says that this business has killed his relationship with his son, and he wants to kill the Rey Mysterio name. At WrestleMania, if Rey wants his son back, then he must fight him. If Dominic wins, then Rey Mysterio must unmask. Okay, Dominic, he just wants to kill the name of Rey Mysterio. Okay, he wants him to unmask so the world can see that he is just a man who lost his entire relationship with his son, with his family, while fighting in the ring. So on the next week, the Raw before WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio comes out to start the show, and it's a very cold open. There's no entrance, there's no pyro, the show just starts with Rey Mysterio standing in the ring. Rey just stands there for a very long time, just in silence, almost with tears in his eyes as the camera keeps cutting to kids with Rey Mysterio masks on. Not only the children who have always been his target demographic, but the adults who have grown up with Rey Mysterio also wearing masks. Rey Mysterio looks out and he pretty much says the best damn speech he can ever think of, okay? He's not given a script, he's not given any of that. It's kind of similar to the Mark Henry promo. The fake retirement promo, if you remember that one, except Rey Mysterio never really says he's retiring. He just kind of has that bit of heart-to-heart with the fans, because that's exactly what he does. Rey Mysterio, he is so likable that any kind of speech, even remotely close to that Mark Henry fake retirement speech, is going to mean so much, especially since Rey Mysterio has just been challenged by Dominic. Okay, he looks out towards the crowd and then looks down the camera and says that he accepts the challenge to face Dominic, and if he loses, he will unmask. So it's WrestleMania. You knew that it was going to lead to this. Rey Mysterio putting his mask on the line at the grandest show of the year. It's Dominic versus Rey Mysterio, with Dominic coming out first, probably, hopefully, to a large reaction of just sheer boos by the crowd. If not, it's kind of disappointing. Means I haven't done my job right. Rey Mysterio then comes out next, and he is decked out in classic Rey Mysterio gear. Okay, he's coming out. Okay, he might have the Booyaka Booyaka song because that is the more famous song. I don't know. You tell me. He could have the old Rey Mysterio theme song as well. Either way, though, he comes out in his first gear fighting in the WWE. Okay, he comes out, and if you remember his first match when he fought against Chavo Guerrero, he had that red and black mask and pants look, and of course, how could you forget? Even though he's blowing out his left knee so many times. Okay, I'm booking this shit, and I'm gonna tell you what happens. Rey Mysterio, he jumps out of the ground. The coolest entrance when you're a kid is Rey Mysterio popping out of the ground. He doesn't do it anymore, and I understand why, because of his left knee. But hopefully it doesn't, like, F up, like, at WrestleMania 26 or something. I don't know. Either way, though, he pops out of the ground, and it's awesome. The old school Rey Mysterio look. Okay, and even though this could be his final matchup, he's coming out looking like $1,000,000. Okay, he's not even wearing the superhero gear because he's coming out to his first gear, because Rey Mysterio is a superhero to the many adults who watched him as they grew up and the kids who have watched him in this new generation. Rey Mysterio enters the ring, and Dominic, he refuses to look at him. He refuses to look at Rey Mysterio, thinking to himself, you know what, Rey, you lost your chance to look at me. You lost your chance to really see me as I was a kid, so I'm not even going to look at you. Even after the bell rings, Dominic doesn't look at him. Rey Mysterio gets close up to Dominic and then he just slaps him in the face. Okay, for disrespecting him, not looking at his father, he slaps him in the, probably not backhand, but he slaps him in the, he just bitch slaps his son. He slaps Dominic in the face, and Rey Mysterio and Dominic, they duke it out in the ring, having hopefully a really good match, because Dominic is like, it's a contrast of styles, really. You know, Dominic, he is kind of like a bigger dude, at least when compared to Rey Mysterio. He doesn't really have the same advantages in terms of speed. However, Dominic, he does have the power advantage, so it's kind of like that match. It's kind of a big man, little man match, you know, what Rey Mysterio is freaking great at. Rey Mysterio faces the odds, not just physically, but also emotionally, because he has to battle his son. But in the end, Dominic does it. He hits Rey Mysterio with the 619. Maybe another move if you want Dominic to continue fighting in the WWE. You know, so it's like a different move, so it's not Rey Mysterio's move. I'm not too sure. Anyways, Dominic wins 619, maybe another move to defeat Rey Mysterio. So as Dominic stands in the ring, the victor, Rey Mysterio's wife and daughter, comes out through the crowd. They go over the barricade and join Rey Mysterio in the ring. Rey Mysterio, he uses the ropes, but he does eventually get up before staring Dominic in the eyes. He stares at him, he looks out towards the crowd, and then back at his family. And then he does it. Rey Mysterio unmasks in the middle of the ring for the world to see. His family, even Dominic, kind of gasp at Rey Mysterio doing it, but he is committed to this, so he does it, he takes off the mask, and that's what happens. His face is revealed to the world. After a few moments to let the crowd soak in, Dominic tries to give Rey Mysterio a hug because he's just thinking to himself, it has to be over now. Okay, you just unmasked, you have to retire now. And he is so overwhelmed in just all of the feelings of not having that time with his dad that he could potentially have now that Rey Mysterio is probably never wrestling again. I don't know, I probably wouldn't do it. I wouldn't have him wrestling again. This feels like a retirement thing. So Dominic, he opens himself up for a hug, but Rey Mysterio, he fires back, drop kicking him in the back, so Dominic falls down into that oh-so-signature position for a 619, and Dominic, as he's sitting there, he feels not 2, but 4 feet connect with his face as Rey Mysterio and his daughter do a double 619. So following the double 619, Rey Mysterio leaves the arena for the last time, probably being inducted into the Hall of Fame next year. Rey Mysterio, he unmasks, he walks out, and with his wife and daughter, he smiles to the crowd for the last time as Dominic goes on to most likely be an incredible heel, probably fighting for the US title afterwards. That's kind of where I would put him here. It is kind of only his first half year or so. I want to give him the WWE title, but I could see him as a United States champion, you know, because he did have that history with the United States title, kinda. But yeah, in the end, Dominic goes on to be probably one of the most hated heels on the roster. And that's how I would do it. Rey Mysterio being unmasked by his son. What did you guys think? Do you guys have any other thoughts about this potential massive fantasy booking? I did think about it for a while. I did think maybe someone from NXT could unmask him, but in the end, it all kind of just boiled down to Rey Mysterio and his son, because it's his son that should probably unmask him. It just made the most sense to me. So, how did you guys like it? If you guys liked it, please let me know by hitting that little like button down below. Comment anything you want to comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. But if you have, why not hit the bell to be notified of everything we do here on the Bad Wrestling channel? I'm, of course, Dominic. And have a good day from Bad Wrestling.